Hey everyone, so today I wanted to do a video sharing some awkward dating hookup stories, and I've always been very open and honest with you guys. I've shared a lot of my own personal experiences, the good and the bad, which hopefully have been entertaining and maybe helpful if you're ever in a similar scenario, but these stories are not mine. Over winter break, I was actually able to talk to a lot of my friends and gather some of their stories, and they gave me permission to tell them, of course without using their names or any identifying factors, and that's what I'm going to do today. So the first one is called Sexting the Wrong Guy. So I had a friend that had a pretty serious boyfriend, and then they ended up breaking up, and they were on really bad terms when they ended things off. They were definitely not friends, and they really hadn't spoken to each other in a very long time. So then my friend actually started dating this guy who had the same name as her ex-boyfriend. So one night she was all dressed up, had her makeup done, she had a really cute little lingerie outfit on, and wanted to send a suggestive photo to this new guy that she was dating. So she went on her phone, sent the photo, and then she told me that about 10 minutes had gone by and he hadn't answered, and at this point they were in texting back and forth and stuff, so she thought that was a little bit odd. So she went back to look at her phone, and lo and behold, she sent that photo along with "I'm thinking about you" to her ex-boyfriend that happened to have the same name as the new guy. And she actually said it was so mortifying that she tried to quickly turn off her phone, put it on airplane mode, anything to not get the photo to actually send, but of course it was too late and it did send. Although she said that her ex actually never answered the message, so she was kind of hopeful that maybe it didn't get delivered or something. Who knows, maybe something happened, but I'm pretty sure he probably did get the message. And to make matters worse with that, she also said her ex is also dating a new girl, so it probably looked really desperate and awkward on her part once he received that message. That was definitely not supposed to go to him, but in her defense, what was she supposed to do? She said she thought about it for a minute, and she thought it would seem even worse and even more of a lie if she texted him telling him it was sent to the wrong guy. So she just didn't say anything, he never said anything, and she just said she hopes that she won't run into him in public anytime soon. So this next story comes from a guy friend of mine. He said that he went out one night drinking at this bar, and there was this girl there that he kind of flirted with always, but nothing had ever actually happened. And so by the end of the night when they were out, they decided to go home together. So of course he thought it was going to lead, to some sort of hookup, something, whatever like that. So they got back to his place, they were making out, and for whatever reason he said he just kind of wasn't feeling it. And so he wasn't able to, perform correctly. So he said that he excused himself to the bathroom, and he went into the bathroom and he began to touch himself to kind of, get things going, I guess, because this girl was sitting in his apartment, kind of ready to go, and for whatever reason it just wasn't happening on his part. And while he was doing that, the girl, I guess, kind of got a little worried about him because he was gone for a little while, and she came around the corner, opened the bathroom door, and saw him completely naked, touching himself. And so obviously at that point she got offended, and she realized he wasn't sexually attracted to her or whatever was going on, and she demanded to go home right at that moment. So of course he had been drinking, so he wasn't going to drive her home. So he called a cab, and when the cab pulled up, he was expecting for her to get in, have it paid for, everything would be fine. But the cab driver told him that in order for him to pay with his credit card, he would have to go in the cab and ride with the girl all the way home. And at this point, he didn't have any cash on him, and neither did the girl. And I'm not really sure why he didn't just use Uber. I didn't actually ask him that, but whatever. Regardless, he had to actually go into the cab, ride all the way with her in silence. He said she didn't say a word to him. He said he tried to apologize, and then he tried to kind of make it a little bit more lighthearted, and she just would not say a single word back to him. And update on that story, he told me that he's seen that girl around school, and she has never said another word to him since that night. So I mean, that's pretty embarrassing, but I think it's a good reminder for us girls to know that sometimes we can get really self-conscious and worried about how a guy perceives us, or how a date goes or something like that. But guys also have some things they have to worry about when they're dating and meeting people, hooking up, all that kind of stuff. So just good to know that whether you're a guy or a girl, there are things that could go wrong and things that could become kind of embarrassing and awkward. And the last little story I have to tell you are actually two really funny autocorrects, and again, these were told to me by my friends. So the first one comes from a girl that was texting this guy, and they were talking about the YouTube channel Dude Perfect, which I'm sure you guys have probably heard of. They do cool trick shots and stuff, and she said that in the middle of their conversation he was like, "Oh yeah, you're talking about dudes erect." And I mean, I'm not really sure how autocorrect works, but I mean, she said she then was kind of suspicious on if like he was looking that up or why his phone would have corrected it to that. But needless to say, I don't think they ever had like a second date or anything, so I think that kind of freaked her out, and that was obviously a very awkward autocorrect for him to have to come back from. And I'm pretty sure she said like he just didn't really acknowledge it, like he just didn't, you know, comment on the fact that that's what he wrote back to her. And then the second autocorrect is a little bit more innocent, but still funny nonetheless. She told me that this guy was messaging her, and like the first message he sent said, "Hey," and she's like, "Hey," and then he wrote, "You're edible." And she was like, "What?" And then he said, "Oh my gosh, I meant to say you're incredible." And, you know, edible, incredible, I guess, you know, autocorrect messed that up. But let me know in the comments if you guys have ever had any really awkward autocorrects, especially with like a crush or someone you're dating. I would love to hear about them. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little video of these awkward hookup and dating stories. Let me know if you'd like to hear more, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!